All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning. Welcome to Monday and sort of a sense of spring.
Except for the cold wind.
That's right. That's right. We're gonna have that supposedly all through summer, but it will get warm. It's just gonna be through this unpredictability. It's just gonna happen until May or June, and then it's going to be a dog all through probably September, October, and then we'll start seeing the pig. And the pig is a lot of fun. If you like to eat and you enjoy getting together and having a meal with people, next year is going to be amazing. It's just going to be crazy. So we'll see how it goes. So what was the reading today? Right, retrospection. So a lot of the reading actually talks about following a master and learning a style, and then trying to discern whether the guidelines are right or wrong, or whether the magic is actual or imagined magic, and all these things. And we see it in most of the religions. You're raised praying to a god, and then later you realize, well, it's not really the God out there, it's the God in here, and we still have to be true to it. And and so different religions and different people all see these things change as they grow up and start testing it. Does this go through? Does this not go through? Is this always solid? And so we start to develop that, and then we look back on it and go, well, what have I learned and what am I applying to my life? So it's kind of that retrospective. The life of Tim, and so now is the time for us to kind of do that retrospective and look forward, because it gives us a better guideline and it gives us a better understanding of the things that we can imagine. As I said in the email, what did you imagine as a child? How did that work out for you? And now that you're here, if all of that is in the past and everything from here forward is all new again, what would you imagine now? What would it be now, right? Where would we be? What would we be going? Why would we be doing it? And so we have that opportunity facing spring, seeing summer in the near future and knowing, oh, it's going to be great, and you're going to just be pushed along. Well, where do you want to go? Because you kind of can. For the next 6 months, you can kind of, just say, I want to do this. And as long as you put your focus on it and know what the past has done to get you where you are, that you can get further along, right? So this time of year, we talk a lot about the big goal is broken up of little goals, right? We start seeing the steps that got us here. Now we can easily see the steps that will keep going from here forward. Do we want to keep going that way? Do we want to adjust a little bit, right? So pretty soon we'll have the reading, if we knew we were off by a little bit, why wouldn't we adjust? Because if we wait, we're going to be, way over there someplace, and how did I get here? Well, you know how you got there. You just chose not to see it. So now we want to say, I choose to see it. I saw where I was. I see why I'm here. I need to change these things in my life. Or I'm gotten here now and I could go so much further, And so this is that time of year to feel that energy, to see the possibilities in everything and make the decision. Well, what do I want to do with my life? Right? So any questions about the reading or the spring energy? Right? So last week we started looking at rhythm in the body, or actually for the last couple of weeks we've been talking about rhythm in the body, how movement of the body has this natural rhythm character. And when we slow it down a little bit, we can see that it doesn't take a whole lot for us to make the change, right? Kind of like that If I'm just a little bit off, I just make a little bit of adjustments. I don't have to go, I really need to change it, because then you're, right, overdoing it and you could go the other way, right? You could mess things up going the other direction. And so we talk about in the Tai Chi movements how it's not really this great big grandiose move. It's just this little tiny move. That's all it takes, right? And so when I'm standing like this and I want to change my weight from one foot to another, I don't need to go like this to do it, right? That's overdoing it. All I really need to do is just kind of shift a little bit to one side, and there's more weight on this leg and less weight on that leg. It doesn't have to be all on this leg and none on that leg. And when I shift the other way, it's the same thing. It's really not a big amount of movement that makes it happen. So when I'm thinking of my heels, all I need to do is just kind of squat and sit down a little bit, and I'm on my heels. And then all I need to do is push my knees forward a little bit. Oh, I'm on my toes. There really isn't a big movement, right? It's just this little tiny movement. We exaggerate it a lot, and I exaggerate it a lot when I'm doing the demonstrations because it really looks beautiful, it's, oh, this is so, amazing, his moves. And it's really, I'm not doing that much, and we shouldn't be doing that much, right? And so last week when we talked about it, if I move to one side and I take the weight off that foot, all I need to do is pull my hip back, straighten that knee out, and my foot wants to turn all by itself. I really don't have to do a whole lot of work, right? It's just this little tiny movement, and the foot's trying to do it for me because of the mechanics of the body, right? And so we take advantage of the body. We take advantage of the movements and the way the body is built to make movements easier, to make movements smoother, right? And to try and keep our balance, which tends to be a major problem with just about everybody because we get so focused in our jobs and in our work that we kind of lose the concept of this is balanced and this is not, right? We end up going into we end up going into a meeting or something and we're like, whatever, here we go again, and yet that balance is there for us because it's what's inside is outside. What's outside is inside. We talk about that about this time of year because part of the perspective of the Taoist philosophy, much of the Buddhist philosophy, Confucianism, Zen Buddhism, is they all believe that if you calm the inside and mellow out the way that the energy is moving in the body, then everything around you will reflect that, right? And it's one of those, of course, one of my favorite songs. It's not just something you have to see to believe, it's something you have to believe to see. And U2 put that in one of their lyrics, and every time I hear that song, it's like, you gotta believe it in order for it to exist. Otherwise, it may not exist, right? One of the most common statements nowadays in science, specifically, we keep looking for smaller and smaller things that things are made up of, and we keep finding out that there's more and more space than there is things. But we're looking for it, right? If we weren't looking for it, it would still be solid. Everything that we know would still be solid. But now in quantum mechanics, we know that, well, actually, no. It's an energy field. And if that energy field makes up your body, and I get that energy field in harmony, doesn't that influence everything I come in contact with? Right? So we can kind of take that all the way out to quantum mechanics and look back and go, how did the Chinese know? How did the Buddhists figure this out? How did Siddhartha, sitting on figured this out, right? Because it's so real, because it's so true, because it's so there regardless. And so we end up in this quandary of where we are today and what we built and where we're going and all that kind of stuff to know I'm just made up of a bunch of space and energy. Okay. That's hard to get your head around. So you really have to believe it in order to see it. I'm rambling. It's one of my favorite times of year. What can I say? Okay, so let's take that back to the inside of the body and think about the way the breath connects to the rest of the body. If I kind of relax and just kind of hang here for a minute and let my body just kind of collapse on itself, and I try to inhale, it works, but I'm blowing up like a balloon, so maybe the body should be freer of those things. So if I listen to the breath when I inhale, and then I exhale and I follow that as well, I can see that this natural rhythm starts to form. When I inhale, the body lightens up and lifts up and opens. And when I exhale, it kind of slowly relaxes down and closes, which is what we say in the terms of this exercise. So inhale and it all opens. And exhale and it all closes. So if I'm rolling my feet, like in first moving gong, and inhale and exhale in this natural rhythm of the body, am I making changes to my body's mechanics or my energy or my metaphysical state? After you've done that a couple of times, what would your answer be? Sure feels like it, doesn't it? Everything suddenly changes, right? We go from this, oh, I gotta work on SQL, enter, open, right? You get locked in this thing, and when we stop and clear our minds and take a breath, whoa, where was that? Right? Well, it was really always there, right? And so we engage the body a little bit more, and I bend my knees and I really think about the body as being this energy ball, and when I inhale, the ball's opening things and energizing things, and then I roll forward and close as I exhale, and I imagine all the energies exchanging and relaxing and connecting to everything else, and wow, it feels even different again. Right? We get this second kind of wave of, wow, wait a minute. Wow, quite the connection, right? So we take this and we look at movement in life. And we always do this about this time of year. How do we walk? Right? Fall forward and try and keep yourself from falling down. We just kind of and keep going. Where in Tai Chi and Qigong we think about, well, what if I was to be uncertain of that space and I need to find out what is out there before I put any weight on it? Then all I have to do is bend down a little bit to lengthen my leg. If I stand up and I reach out, I can't touch the ground. I won't know it's there. But if I bend my leg and I've got all this flexibility to reach out and touch the ground, and I can see that it's solid, and then I can put some weight on it. I want to change feet, I need to roll back, right? I roll back, turn the hip a little bit, step out, check the ground again, move forward. Roll back, turn the foot, and step forward. So try and figure out where your breath is in this. If the breath is the rhythm of the body, where would you put the breath? There's no right answer, so don't worry about trying to figure out what's right or wrong in this. It's just finding that natural rhythm in the movement that might be an inhale or an exhale. So the next thing we're going to do is moving the hands. And this is a little more obvious, right? If I was to go like this and take a big breath in, my hands automatically open because my chest is rolling open, and when my chest rolls open, my shoulders roll open, my arms have to move. So I'm just standing here and inhale, and then exhale, the hands naturally open and close. So it's pretty obvious to see where the rhythm in the movement for the breath in the body, in the upper half of the body. And so when I'm doing sowing seeds or parting wild horse's mane, I'm exhaled, I'm collapsed in, and when I roll out and inhale, right, the body does most of the work. I'm really not doing a lot with my arms. My chest is opening up and my arms are spreading out because of this effect. Right? Roll back, change hands. Right? So now we're tying the foot with the breath, with the upper body, and things are starting to actually form a rhythm, right? We're starting to actually see a rhythm happen. But what did it look like, right? This was inhale was rolling forward and exhale was rolling back. But if I'm to do brush knee, inhale is the roll back and the exhale is the rolling forward. Inhale and exhale. So does that make sense? Right? The body movement for the upper body, inhale, exhale, big difference. Where the hands are supposed to be, what they're doing, and how it works. But when I'm moving the legs around, oh, this could be an inhale, this could be an exhale. Yeah, right? Because primarily there's no lungs down there. Right? The lungs are up here. But what's down here? Right? The legs are the secondary pump, right? The secondary pump of the heart is in the legs. And so being bent down and expanding and contracting the muscles through this pattern of rolling and weight shifting aids in circulation through the body. The blood, the little valves that make the blood stay in places where it needs to be and then release when it needs to be, right? That all happens in this weight shifting exercise. And so not only is the Tai Chi movement tied into better breathing, better balance, but it's also tied into better circulation, better rejuvenation of the body, which circulation they now say is the key to, right, rejuvenation of the body, is all in these moves. So I keep hoping to bring these moves to you every week. Challenge your mind and body. Any questions about the exercises? How much time do we have left? Sure. I've got all day, folks. Okay, so no questions, no thoughts about the movement specifically? I see it coming.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
mine is, but I don't want to bore people. My thing is, I have to remember when I put my feet out, I don't do it right. I'm finding that, because I need to have a wider space, right?
Mhm.
When I'm putting my feet out, and I don't think I'm doing it correctly. So when you step out, like if I want to step out with my right foot, I want to step out, but I want it so it has a wider space, but it's behind the other foot. front, because then it's not secure enough when I'm standing, I'm not, and, am I doing that?
You're doing fine. Most of the time, it's a practice that we teach the kids. One of the first things we teach the kids when we teach them martial arts is the proper stance work. Because we don't do this class every day, you really don't get the chance to have it really drilled into you. And so the best thing about the movements is it's not really where the movement is, but how you do the movement, right?
Yeah.
And so yoga, knock yourself out, right? Tai Chi is just another way of doing it. Some people are runners, some people are swimmers, some people are hikers, some people do Tai Chi, some people do martial arts, some people do yoga, some people do Tantra practices. They're all the same. When it comes down to the physiology of the body, they're all the same. They get you to move, they get you to breathe, they get your circulation to go, they get you to clear your mind, right? That's really like the root of this whole thing, and the rest of it is your comfortability. If you were disabled, we wouldn't be doing the exact same exercises, right? I have a disability in my hip. I can't do the same, but I've figured out how I can do things that make it look like I don't have a problem, you know, and so it's just, if you want the mechanics, we can talk about the mechanics of it. We will be, because by the time we get to summer, we'll be back to things have to be this way, but right now it's all exploration. Everything's possible, right? Everything is possible. That answers your question, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and do 3 of the first moving gong. So you start in a nice kind of rounded and open position. Knees are bent, feet are flat against the ground. You want to try and be upright and sitting on the heels to start with. And then we're going to roll the hands behind as we inhale. Open and roll forward to exhale. Cross the toes to the inside edges of the feet and back to the center. And again, roll back. Inhale, open. Forward, close, across the toes. And one more. And because of the way the energy is really jangly this time of year, we're going to do the belt gong exercise. So start on one side, roll across the toes, and then back to the heels as the hands come out to go around the back of the body. And roll across the heels to the other side, following the hands. Again, across the front on the toes. Across the back. And one more. And then switch sides and directions, across the toes. And then bring the hands down to the sides and turn them out. Come up for closing. You probably feel the bottom of your feet are feeling tingly or bubbly, and that's the bubbling spring. You want to really pay attention to that this time of year. Think about your feet, getting energy and giving energy to the ground. And palms out, inhale, rise up. And one more. All right, any last thoughts or questions? Thank you for coming. Enjoy the week. Hope to see you all next Monday.